Alright guys, this is my attempt at a Defender 2.0. I didn't get as much done with the roof as I would have liked to, but it's pretty good. Enjoy. Alright, so we're going to start this build off pretty standard. It's actually the same core that the original Defender used. The only main difference is that, well, we're going to be expanding the foundation out a lot more. So I just kind of laid down the foundation here. Slow it down if you need to follow along. I feel like I'm always responding to that. So I speed these videos up because overall the builds generally take about 4 to 5 hours. And it would absolutely kill my watch time and any viewer engagement whatsoever if I was to leave them at 4 to 5 hours. And people always ask me to upload the raw thing, but it's going to take me 10 hours to render the raw video. So that's why I normally don't. But what you can do if you want to watch the raw video is go into the settings, which would be on mobile, your top right corner, or on PC, your bottom right corner. A little settings thing, and then you can actually change your watch speed. So currently this is set to about 3 times speed, I believe, 3 to 4 times speed. So you're going to go to 0.25 speed, and that's going to be to watch it in real time if you want to follow along. Then I recommend muting because my voice gets really slow. So what I'm doing here is I'm actually laying out 2x2s because this base is a furnace base. It has 6 furnaces inside of it. I was able to fit 6 because it's just such a fat base. In the end, these kind of were a pain, but for a base using as much metal as this one does, it seems to be worth it. Just kind of adjusting my settings here. I turn off building stability because the modded server I play on has reduced stability, so that's what I'm building for. But this base is completely possible in standard stability. You're just going to need to add a bit more support at the base. Like, you can't have any open walls at the base. And you're going to have to use a lot of doors instead of wall frames for like loot and stuff, just to keep the base stable if you are building this on a server with standard laws of physics. So I just kind of go triangle square from here on. I did have to make it a little strange for the little furnaces to fit, but from here on out it's actually pretty standard and pretty hard to get through. It's a lot of honeycomb now. These first 5 floors are going to be a lot of honeycomb. And it's kind of boring to watch. I actually recommend speeding up the video. The best part to watch is probably when I'm working the actual roof. Because the roof is always the most fun on these big bases. You get to do so much wacky shit with it and, you know, cover every angle that ever exists. So that's the fun part of building these. I think, yeah, we did the entire outer layer was triangles because that makes it the hardest to get through the outer shell of the base. And then I kind of topped off the corners with squares. You don't have to use squares, but I think it makes the base aesthetically look a lot nicer, and you get extra roof angles up top once you get to that point, which is going to be a long way away in the video. I think the video is going to end up being about an hour long. I'm currently recording part 1, which is 20 minutes, and part 1 is the first 2 floors, but that's what I spent the most time on. So like I said, this video was probably originally near an hour. I sped it up to about 20 minutes, and that's why I don't post the builds in normal speed, because, well, one, if you're going to actually follow along with the base this big, I recommend going with a YouTuber larger than myself, if you can't find one of those bases this big, because my bases aren't actually tested. These aren't wipe tested. I don't put a whole lot of thought into every little detail, because these are like for fun. I hop on a build server, I sit on there for a couple hours, slap down a nice fat base, record it, and then I edit it up and post it on YouTube. That's just kind of my current gig. I think as I grow, I'm going to start using my bases on actual wipes a lot more and record a build and a entire wipe and make it into a little like 2-hour video pretty much. and have like the wipe at the first half and the actual base build at the second half, or upload it as 2 videos and playlist them or something like that. But I just currently don't have the time to record shit like that for, 100 views. It's just not worth it for me to spend, 5 to 20 hours of work to get, a questionable amount of views. But once I can start securing, like, worth it views, then it's going to be worth it for me to start doing that. I really haven't been talking much about what's going on in the actual build here. That's because we're just building honeycomb, lots and lots of honeycomb. It's pretty straightforward as long as you're, a competent builder. And if you're new to building in Rust, or if you haven't really built much before, I don't recommend starting on this base in my channel. I'm rating this a 9 out of 10 for challenging. What I'm starting to do now is rate my bases out of 10 for how challenging they are to build. If you're new to building, I wouldn't recommend going over what I rate a 5. So like my last video before this one, it's called One Tough Base, is actually a 5. It's a really good, like 5-man modded clan base. It costs about 95k. It's actually a lot more doable than a base like this. A base like this is going to take a lot of dedication to farming, even on something like a 5-time server. That's because this base is just so effing massive. It's a monster. Like, just look at this foundation. My video is lagging at a low frame rate for me right now. I really hope this doesn't lag like this in the final cut, but I think it's just because I'm recording over watching this in my editing software in a small little corner. So I kind of put in, at the 3 entrances, I put in 3 drop boxes, because drop boxes are always important, especially in big bases like this, because you normally don't have the time to go all the way deep into the core to deposit stuff. So you gotta kind of have like an outer layer of just utilities in general. Like, you can't always go all the way to your loot room in a base this big, because realistically walking through this base is going to take you about 5 minutes each way. So you gotta have like more than one workbench, more than one research table, more than one accessible furnace area, and definitely more than one loot room, because you just kind of got to spread it out throughout the base. You can't all put it in one spot and just door it the fuck off, because it's going to become so hard to use, and it's just going to make it not fun to get through. That's also what happens. Well, that's also kind of like the cause of abandoning entire floors. Like, if something's so hard to get to, you're not actually going to use it for anything, and then it's just a waste of materials, and it's just essentially turning into expensive honeycomb that you don't even need to spend that much on. Kind of boxed up here, boxed that up, just box in these loot rooms. I don't know why I'm saying box in, it's not even a term. And then right here, I'm starting to build, what's going to be the outline of my furnace rooms. Hey, would you look at that? We're already at 8 minutes. We're already almost halfway through this first chapter. So I think this is going to end up being 3 chapters of the build. What happened at the end of this first chapter was I needed to actually go get a drink and stop looking at the screen for a minute because my head was hurting so bad. That was after the first 2 floors of this, and I kind of just needed a break, so I stopped recording. And I did that 3 times throughout this build, so I'm going to kind of box this out into 3 chapters. And actually, I think that was a good idea, and I might start doing that more, just kind of like separating the build to make it not one big continuous thing. And that way I can record 3 separate voice segments like the one I'm recording right now, so I don't have to talk non-stop for 2 hours straight, and I can kind of get a break in between it. Also, if I'm like an hour and a half deep into recording a voice thing like this, and I hear that, someone walking up the stairs talking really loud behind me, because that's right outside my room, it's kind of like, fuck, now I have to find exactly where this is, I have to mute that little section, and then I have to re-record over it, and it's just like such a hassle to do something like that. So lucky for me, not a lot of people are home right now, and the house is quiet, so I can record the first segment of this build. We're just kind of finishing up the furnace rooms here. As you saw, I did 2 boxes in each of them, and later I go back and put garage doors in for safekeeping. I turned these into very, very long airlocks, lots and lots of doors, because I felt that the outer layer needed to have a lot of doors in it. I couldn't just have doors going straight to my core, or it would make it way too cheap to raid. So I honeycombed all the ones that didn't have doors in them, and made the ones that did have doors into them just straight airlocks. And my chair is really squeaky. I need to oil it, because, you know, recordings. Yeah, you guys don't need to be hearing this chair. Or, you know, me ripping ass every 15 minutes. I go AFK right here because I'm opening Snapchats while recording like a retard. And that's just kind of bad habits. I gotta just kind of throw my phone away while I'm recording, so I don't go randomly AFK and respond to shit that doesn't actually matter. Like I'm doing right now while recording. I'm talking about how bad these habits are while I am on Snapchat recording this thing. So, yeah. Good for me. We've actually kind of gotten ourselves all the way down to where the core is going to be now. The core on this base is not first floor accessible. It's actually, you have to go down to get it. That's so when people blow straight through the first floor, it gives them a bit rougher access to it. And the second floor actually does have a little bit more honeycomb because there's not doors on it, and the furnaces are just kind of boxed in. So the second floor seemed like the ideal place to put the entrance to the TC. Upkeep on this thing at the end, I checked it off camera. The upkeep on this is actually retarded. The upkeep, I believe, was just dipping into the 300,000 range, which is extremely amazing to me because, yeah, that's a lot of moolah. The base from my Why We Build video actually wasn't even that expensive because I didn't fill in the honeycomb because I just wasn't feeling it. And that ended up being like 300,000. So I never actually checked the end cost of this base, but I think I could probably calculate it out with my knowledge of the 320,000 a day upkeep. So if you just want to find the total cost, I'll probably end up doing this and dropping it in the description. 320,000 times, it's like 8 metal a day for each stone wall. I wouldn't be able to calculate out the numbers of walls and floors, but this base is probably going to end up being close to like 900k metal, something like that. And that is due to its massive amount of honeycomb. This base is like a lot of honeycomb on the first 5 floors. I think I already mentioned this, but I'm really mad I didn't get to finish the roofing level, which is the most fun part, and the shooting floors, because it was getting really late and my head was hurting an insane amount and I just could not go on recording. So I had to kind of give up building for the night and finish it with just like 4 floors of shooting level, which was kind of an L, and the base isn't as pretty as I wanted it to be and as functional as I wanted it to be. And it was just kind of overall disappointing. So I'm actually still kind of mad about that. I'd just like to drop in a quick reminder here to subscribe to PewDiePie if you're not already, because, yeah, don't subscribe to me, subscribe to PewDiePie. If you're thinking about subscribing to me, I want you to take that thought, and I want you to go subscribe to PewDiePie, and then come back to my channel and also subscribe to me, because, yeah, I like subscribers, but PewDiePie deserves them, because PewDiePie, and also fuck T-Series. So, yeah, that's just my little, once-a-month memo on, why India is bad, and T-Series is big gay. So subscribe to PewDiePie, and yeah, I just saw something about PewDiePie scrolling through my Instagram feed, so I figured it'd be a good time to drop and subscribe to PewDiePie, because subscribe to PewDiePie. And then, yeah, dropping in the triangles, finally reefing up the floor. First floor here, and getting shit done. The roofs on the first floor, obviously, it's flying by really fast, but it doesn't matter that much because, well, it's kind of obvious where you put the roofs. we're actually only doing one ladder hatch up. We're not doing multiple ladder hatches because I figured if you can protect the one, it makes it easier to defend interior-wise, like defend a raid that's already deep. Here I put garage doors on every single furnace room because I figured people would blow in from the outside, so this is just another layer of defense. For that, for rockets, for the boys. And then just drop it on the square roofs. Sub gap is closing currently. I'm watching the PewDiePie live stream. That's not good. Let's go PewDiePie. We can make it to 100 mil. 100 mil gang. Yeah. Alright, and right here is the part where I finish up the first floor. The majority of the second floor is just honeycomb. There's actually not a whole lot of shit on the second floor. I really couldn't find anything to do with it because the core was so blocked off, and these furnace rooms actually kind of limit me from using the outer honeycomb on the first couple of floors. Like, just long enough for me to get my vertical honeycomb game up. But third floor I was able to use the middle because I finally actually felt safe putting in some loot rooms up there. More vertical defense above the loot rooms though. Because yeah, gotta have that vertical. So I just kind of honeycombed up these here. And ran honeycomb for the rest of the floor, and that's pretty much the rest of chapter 2, just me honeycombing this floor. So because I already pretty much explained the rest of what I'm going to be doing for this segment of the build for the next 3 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and take this as a time to ask any viewers still watching what you guys want to see build-wise. Like, I'm not saying I'm out of ideas for build, I'm just saying, like, I want to do what people want to see, because that's what gets the views up, that's what gets the subscribers up, and that's what grows the channel. So I want to build what people want to see me build. So if anyone has any suggestions on, like, build ideas, or what they want to see built, or size, or price range, or what for, just, like, drop a comment, let me know. If you don't want to drop a comment, private message me on YouTube. I think that's the thing now. YouTube's always adding shit. I think there's some sort of private messaging. So, yeah, if you have really anything you want to say about anything, just tell me about it. I kind of want to hear about, you know, base ideas, shit like that. I'm also going to say, from now on, I will no longer be accepting people saying, hey, can you come build this for me? I've actually accepted a couple people and come and built bases on servers and played with clans. Through YouTube, I will no longer be joining clans because I'm getting, like, actually a lot of requests for that. So I'm going to be stopping joining through my own comment section. If you really want to, like, you know, invite me to come work on a project with you, you can email me at loopsrust@gmail.com and hit me up privately on there. But for the meanwhile, I just honestly am not going to be answering comments anymore saying, hey, come build such and such for me, because I don't have the time to come and build stuff for everyone, and if I respond to one comment, everyone's like, hey, you responded to this guy, you're not responding to me, what's up? And it's just that I do not have the time to build videos for bases and for people, and, like, bases for people videos. It's a lot easier to record a base build video on a build server because you can't really follow when I'm building in Twig than upgrading when building in Twig, and it's a lot harder to just kind of lay out a build for people in an easy way to see because I can't fly around. So, moral of the story is that I will not really be responding to those anymore. We're kind of reaching the end here. There's about 30 seconds left in this chapter. So if you guys have made it this far, thank you for watching. This is a good pausing point if you need to go. And I will be pulling up the transition card to the next segment here shortly. You'll hear me whenever I get back. This ends at 20 minutes exactly. We are at 19:45, so 15 seconds. Thank you guys all for watching so far. Enjoy the rest of the build. Future me will be taking you from here. Bon voyage. Welcome back to Honeycomb Simulator. I'm actually just gonna leave the music running because, spices up the video that if this gets copyright claimed, I don't care. I don't make money anyway, so it doesn't matter. So you actually, between the cut, missed a part of it here because I logged on and finished up the honeycomb, and I realized my game was really blurry for some reason. So I ended up just restarting my whole PC in between takes here, and that fixed the issue. But you do miss me finishing up the honeycomb. I promise it's nothing important. I literally just went around the outside ring there and filled it in with honeycomb, and then added in another ladder hatch. The second floor is essentially just a bypass. But we're starting on the third floor, which is not a bypass. It's our first loot room, which is exciting. We're actually getting somewhere here. This chapter is going to take us through floors 3, 4, and 5, which is going to be our 2 loot rooms as well as 1 passageway. But while we do this, we also build a system to keep our furnaces very, very safe. This took way too long. It's really annoying to do, but we're kind of getting started on that here. So that's cool. I'm just kind of grabbing parts here, but I end up using a lot of these because going down to the furnaces would be a cheap way to get to the core. So I had to go up for 3 floors worth of grates. So there's 6 layers of grates to get down, which makes it just as expensive as going 2 floors. To go straight down to these, so I just wanted to make it not worth it. Yeah, so as you can see, I'm just layering up the grates here. I have to do this 6 times here, so if you want to fast forward, this is a good part. I'm going to let it play through though and just kind of keep mumbling on and talking about whatever I feel like talking about. But it goes quite a long way. So that's the first one completed. 5 more of those to do. So this is only going to take me like 10 minutes. I think that's actually what it ended up taking in real time. So time elapsed, this should end up taking like 3-4 minutes to go through. Real time, I was able to get all these down in 10 minutes there, but that was on a build server. This would probably take me half an hour to do on a regular server. Bases take a lot longer to build on regular servers than build servers because of full flying. Actually, I think you might be able to hear the background noise of my fan because my PC's been overheating recently because I don't have enough fans in it. So I just took off the whole side panel to keep it cool so it doesn't crash while I'm doing these big long builds. So if you do hear background humming, I will try to fix it in post just with some audio regulating. But if there is a bit of a background humming, I hope it's not too annoying. It is my CPU fan. Thinking about just getting everything water cooled. It's expensive, but it's effective. So I believe this is this the second or third silo? This might be the second. Yeah, no, it's the third. This took forever to do that. I'm honestly just not watching it because I'm extremely bored out having to do this in the actual game. I don't need to see it again. But it's a good strategy for those of you who do want to build this base. It's a fun base to build. Except for the honeycomb. It's not fun. So just kind of put on some of those there and some of these here, and we're already on like our last two of them. So that's sick. Yeah, last two. I'm gonna try to get this video out by Thursday at the latest, because I am gonna be on vacation all of next week and I won't be actually working on anything. So hopefully posting 2 videos within 5 days of each other will suffice, even though I go quiet for months at a time and don't tell anyone. But I'm hoping this will suffice as being enough uploads to cover me for the next week of nothing. I actually just did a little fun editing project in Rust where I pretty much remade some Vietnam scenes to the song Fortunate Son with a helicopter and some troops in a Vietnamese village, and it's a really sick little edit. I'm thinking about just posting that, but I kind of want to do like a helicopter tutorial or something. So if anyone watching thinks a helicopter tutorial would be a good idea, or any tutorials in general, just let me know, because I think those would be fun videos to make. I'm pretty good at flying a helicopter now. I'd consider myself a professional. I actually went on a build server the day the helicopter came out, this build server, and I just flew him for 5 hours, and I mastered him on the first day, and I had like a leg up on everyone. It was great, and then everyone learned how to fly him, so that wasn't great. Alright, we're finally finishing this up here, and we're going to start working on very exciting honeycomb, which is going to be the outer layer of honeycomb. We just did all 3 floors of honeycomb at once and didn't divide them, because I honestly didn't feel like dividing them, and I think that they don't need to be divided, so it's a big time saver to save on 3 floors worth of materials just in floors, and it actually helps out a lot. When I pause randomly, it's not lag, it's me, doing shit and getting distracted with everything, so yeah. I'm gonna get a microphone. I think that would be helpful to get my microphone off my desk, because I currently don't have a stand for it, because I broke my stand by dropping it off my desk. So I think I'm gonna get an arm for my snowball. That's the microphone I'm currently using. It's actually a great little microphone. I think I paid like $40 for it, and it's like 3 years later now, it still sounds great for my uses for it, at least. For the time being, it's a great mic. If YouTube ever gets any bigger for me, or I start making money, I think I would buy a Yeti, because those are a little bit better. And I would buy some like proper arm and pop protector, or not pop protector, pop filter, stuff like that, just to get my audio a little bit crispier. But for now, I am actually loving the Blue Snowball. I never use headsets, because headsets, I'm just not big on them. But I do like how the Snowball's been working for me. It's like just such a great mic. I definitely recommend it. I've essentially beaten the shit out of mine now. It's like actually like scratched up and shit. I don't even know how I do this to a microphone. I'm like kind of destructive with it. It's like a microphone. What the fuck was I doing with this? Whatever, doesn't matter. So the first floor of honeycomb here is coming along nicely. We're just kind of finishing up in the gaps. Outer layers are done, and then we're going to do this for the next 2 floors, but we're not going to have floors to divide it in between. Actually, I think before I do that, I end up building a loot room. So there's going to be 2 loot rooms. They're both identical on top of one another, and they end up working out pretty well. It's something like 50 or 60 boxes, so this is going to be like the majority of your loot besides what you keep downstairs. Always got to spread out the loot a little bit though, but can't have it too spread out, or else it wastes time running from one thing to another. And you definitely got to have more than one workbench in a base this size. There's no way your group can get by on one workbench. You just got to have more than that. It's just kind of the rule. also just kind of did half wall style loot rooms in here. Let's count off the boxes. 4, 8, 11, 15, yeah, 15, 19, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. That's definitely not a right count because that makes no sense. So ignore that little count off I just did. Also, the audio is probably not going to be synced at this point. It's probably going to be a couple seconds off, so it's going to sound super weird. I don't know why I did that. That was kind of dumb. Just kind of patch up the roof of this floor, and then I'm able to get to work on the actual honeycomb itself, which was, at this point, I was very sick of honeycomb, I will say. These builds do get kind of grueling by the end, and it just kind of gets like hard to keep going because your head hurts, you don't really want to do the build anymore, and it just gets not fun, and you just have a bunch of honeycomb ahead of you, and that's all. But you just kind of got to keep thinking about the good part, which is always the end, which is always the roof, and the roof is always the most fun to build. I love building roofs or bases like this so much, it's just so fun. I honestly might just do a series on building like defensive floors and shit like that, and just kind of teach people like strategies and shit, because those would be such fun videos to make, and I can make fun roofs without having to do the actual beat the base. But for now, I'm going to keep doing tutorials because tutorials work. The Defender 1.0 is sitting at 4.1k views at the time of recording, which is actually insane. I don't know how it's getting that many views, but I think it's a good thumbnail, so I'm going to try to get a similar thumbnail on this one. And that one says unbeatable on it. I'm going to make the same. It's going to be a pretty similar thumbnail and title and tags and everything, so I'm going to see if I can almost replicate the views, because the original Defender was a good build, and I believe in my heart of hearts that this was equally, if not a more complicated build. And I did borrow, the reason I'm calling it the Defender 2.0 is that I borrowed a lot of the design elements from the roof as well as the core. But it's using that same pillbox mixed in with windows mixed in with roleplay roofs. Just like a really good mix of shoot angles on the same floor, and it's not like 5 floors of windows, 1 floor of angled roofs, 1 floor of, whatever. It's like, it's all mixed in on different floors, it's all very symmetrical, it's all very planned out, and it ends up looking like really clean in the end, so it works out well for me. I really get going with this honeycomb here. I'm like flying with it. Like, it's sped up for you guys, so it looks even faster. But like I was whipping through this honeycomb. I was just ready to be done with honeycomb forever after finishing this. And mind you, this build was done at about. I finished up at about 11 p.m. on a Tuesday night. So it was like after a full day of school. I started recording at 6. I finished at about midnight-ish for the space. I was finishing up editing a different video, which is not out yet, and I'm not going to talk about it because it's actually going to be so sick when it comes out, but I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. I was actually finishing up editing that while I was, after school, and then I started working on this base. So I worked on Rust videos for like 8 hours straight, and by the time I was done with this honeycomb, I was like actually ready to give up on the roof. I did cut the space off a couple floors short. I could have gone a lot taller with it, and I just like didn't want to because I was so dead after doing all this shit. It was like taking a toll on me. I gotta just like plan to do one thing a day, which is what I was doing with this. I built it all yesterday. I edited the intro, and I'm recording all these voice segments now. And I'm going to actually probably end up rendering this tonight and uploading it tomorrow morning or late tonight if I do end up staying up late enough to upload it. But the render on this video is going to be a lot longer than normal. It's probably going to be a 4-hour render. So if I'm able to start it by like 8ish, I might be able to stay up to upload, but otherwise I'm not going to be staying up until 1 a.m. to get this video. So if I have this out in the next, or if I have this video done and ready to render within the next like 2 hours, I'm actually going to be good to go. But if not, I think I'm going to have to wait until tomorrow morning to upload. I can just leave my PC running while I sleep. I just let my graphics card chew away at this video, and by morning I'll be able to just start running it, hit publish, and then it'll auto-publish once it's done uploading to YouTube. A video like this generally is going to take its entire runtime to upload to YouTube. That's my rule of thumb. For uploading YouTube videos, generally they take about the runtime to upload. This video's runtime is going to be about an hour and a half, I believe, once it's all said and done. Maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter. But it's probably going to end up taking about that long to render to YouTube. And I think it's going to take like 3-4 hours to render out of the editing software. So in all, I'm looking at like 5-6 hours of going from being done editing to uploading. So I might be able to break that. I might be able to get it done tonight, I might not. I'll just have to see. So this is either going to come out very late Wednesday or very early on Thursday. Early not being like 1 a.m., early being like 6-7 a.m., like before I get up and leave for school. Is when I'm going to be uploading this. And then it's going to render while I'm in first period and probably auto-update while I'm at school. Or not auto-update, auto-upload. I haven't even been talking about the build recently, I've just kind of been mumbling on. But what we did on this floor is, well, create space to build a new loot room. So we're going to do essentially the exact same thing we did with the last floor, put in our squares and our triangles, and put in about the same amount of boxes, actually 4 boxes less, because I have a different location for the ladder hatch, because I don't want people to blow straight down. You can do that for 2 floors here, but it's so tucked away that it probably would never happen. But you gotta be preventative, that's why I put the door in between. So it is a little bit unsafe to do that, and I kind of regret doing it, but I had the door in between, which is another whole measure of safety, and I think it would end up being safe. It wouldn't be that big of a problem. It's not exactly detrimental to the build, but if I could change it, I would, but I can't. So it is what it is. And would you look at that, we're actually almost done with chapter 3 of, or not chapter 3, chapter 2 of the build. We're almost done recording this next 20-minute audio segment. So with that, I think we're getting to the last 2 minutes of the build, so I'm going to keep talking. I'm not quite done talking yet. We build our ladder up, and I build a big doorway through here, where I pop in a lot of doors to kind of separate the loot area from the actual shooting area. I think there needs to be a big buffer zone between that, and that's in the form of vertical honeycomb, as well as a lot of doors between the 2 ladder hatches. So here I just kind of finish up this. I don't think I actually need a roof on this level, so all I really do is finish up the honeycomb, and I'm done with this. Yeah, we're about 1 minute left in chapter 2. Chapter 2 was probably the least interesting chapter, because we did the foundation and core in chapter 1, and in the next chapter, I am actually going to be building all the shooting floor stuff. So if you've made it to this point, keep watching for chapter 3, because that's the coolest part of the video. I just hate that it has to come at the end, but chronological order makes the most sense, so I kind of do what I gotta do. Once again, here I stop like a retard to check my Snapchat, because yeah, Snapchat is apparently one of the builds. Just kidding, it's not. Builds are more fun. And that's about all I do for this floor. Thank you guys for watching this chapter, and I will see you with future me. Welcome back to the final part of the build, actually. It's only taken this long, but we are finally here, and yeah. It actually took like quite a long time, but this is going to be the final third of the build. There the video is pretty much cut into 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 22 minutes. So what we're going to be doing here is finishing up the flooring on the top floor, and we're going to be making some base defense. So I actually get to talk here because we're doing cool stuff. So well, this is the boringest part of the entire build, is me just adding floor. So I can't really say a whole lot for this. So what we're gonna be, pretty much the floor is about done here. So, besides the middle part, I actually had to cover up the vertical honeycomb here because we wanted to, make it as secure as possible going downward, because blowing through the middle is obviously a major concern with this. The video is actually sped up really fast here. I just kind of flew around the base though. I started adding layers of walls, or not walls here, role player roofs here. These are going to be your first line of defense. The only problem with these are they are ladderable, but behind these we do a layer of spikes so that you can't get a whole lot higher than this. You could do spikes around the outside of the base, and that's pretty viable on a big chunky base like this. And I'd actually probably recommend doing something like that. So I built 2 layers back here because I tried a new strategy, building half walls up, and then having your doors underneath them, and putting spikes on top, so that, this is kind of how I built it here, so that you can go underneath the spikes to get inside, but you can't ladder up anymore. It's a bit safer than using ladder hatches, and if you want to, you can put a shotgun trap behind it. So that if anyone tries to jump down towards the door, they get shot, and there's no way to destroy the shotgun trap without having to drain it. So you can't really go in through the doors on the top. I do not do shotgun traps here because I didn't think of it at the time. But I kind of wish I did. That would have been cool. So I just kind of used, I rearranged half walls so people wouldn't pick through. There's always some moron who tries to pick through everything, so that's just kind of for whoever would try to pick through that. I wouldn't expect anyone to pick through a backwards metal wall on the top floor of a base into a honeycomb. But if someone did, I'd turn the wall around anyway, just because it's better be safe than sorry. It's not exactly going to be detrimental to a raid to backwards pick there, so it honestly wouldn't matter, but it's actually for the aesthetic a little bit too. So I just kind of built a half layer around here. You're still able to crouch jump out even with spikes on it. It just is a little bit stranger to do it. So just finishing up the spikes on this layer. I was kind of uneven. If you're building on a server with /remove, it might make this a little bit easier to figure this out. But obviously, it's kind of like the same as finishing up a layer of external walls, high externals. I built a layer of windows around just to test if this worked. Oh wait, no, never mind. I built the floors out first. or the honeycomb at, not the floors at. And then I did a 4-long airlock in the end, actually, because I just kind of honeycombed my way in here. But this is the last bit of honeycomb I did have to do for this base, so lucky me. This is the last time honeycomb had to be done. So just kind of finishing up on the inside, then I made it a little bit easier for me to check and make sure that it was not ladderable. And it was not ladderable. Just being clear that it was not ladderable. And that's about that for that. I actually think I do keep going with honeycomb though after this layer. Honeycombing this was a pain because I was already so done and I just wanted to build window floors, but you know, you have to do what you have to do when finishing up in situations like this. I did 3 different ladder hatches here, so you could come down on 3 different sides if you are getting raided from the top down, just to kind of allow a bit of extra mobility for the defenders of the raid. Doesn't really add any extra benefit for the raiders though, so just a nice little add-on. Also, having to not look for what side you go up on and just go up on any side, or have doors on every side, makes it a little bit easier and shortens your commute up and down to your roof and back. So up here, I actually get to start on the fun stuff. I do 1 floor of windows first. And on top of those windows, I get to do roleplay roofs, but I have to fix the wall again there. And also, I placed all those backwards, so that looks a whole lot better like that. And then just kind of put doors on the inside like such. I put a lot of doors on this floor, I will say. You probably don't need that many, but it doesn't really matter at this point. And these don't have to be armored all the way up here. It's not going to really matter. This is mostly for protection from a helicopter rather than the raids. It's still so strange to me building 2x2s on my foundation. I think if I kept going with the base, I probably could have turned them all into like separate heli towers or something like that, or like separate towers or bunkers. And I do wish I did keep going, but I was so tired, it would have been torture for me to keep building this. So I think I cut it off at a good place that had a substantial roof, and I was substantially tired. And then I just kind of did like barriers to hide behind. This is all mostly for fighting heli. This isn't really the best base for taking heli, but with the amount of stuff it has, it's decent for it. also you're so high up that you're actually kind of shooting down on heli in a lot of situations. Like, you're not shooting up at it, you're like, it flies at a lower altitude than the roof of this base is at. Just like on average. If you're in a mountainous area, or like you're kind of building in a valley, it probably won't. But otherwise, in some situations, it will. So, door up on the inside there, and build upward and onward and upward. Put in 3 ladder hatches. No reason that there has to be 3, just kind of did that. Finish up our roofs. And now we can get on to doing stuff like bunkers and such. But first, I needed to put on my, so I tried to do bunkers on the first floor, but then I realized you'd just be able to ladder over the spikes if you had bunkers there. So I kind of went through and deleted them. Like, after that, I realized that that's way too short. You could have laddered it, so it's not buildable. It would have essentially been a bypass for the spikes. You would have just been able to get right over those spikes if I had a bunker there. But you cannot do that with roofs, or if it's a half wall higher. So I ended up elevating the bunkers by a half wall and still having them be overhangs, because that makes them look a lot cooler. And on top of look, there's functionality of them being curved and you getting more of a 180 angle rather than a, well, straight view. Right there, a little bit of magic as my walls hover. That's because my stability is turned off, as I said earlier. That's just so I could build the base without problems. This base is obviously completely buildable. It's just that I don't like having to, well, build stuff in order, or add every single necessary support to make it completely hyper-realistic. I have about talked myself out, but I only have 8 more minutes to go before this video is done. But my voice is starting to go, and I'm going to talk less and less. But luckily, there's not a whole lot more base to talk through. I'm just going to kind of quiet down here at the end. I actually am probably going to cut out like 5 minutes before the end, because the end is pretty self-explanatory. I'm just putting in windows to their putting windows in the window frames, and then like adding on roofs and a bit of extra defense. So I just built kind of 6 of these little gooseneck looking bunkers, not bunkers, why do I keep saying bunkers? Bunkers, and these serve the purpose of 180-degree views down on the land around. These actually have a great view, and it's a lot harder to get killed in one of these, especially if you're fighting minicopters now, because this base is going to be a minicopter magnet with its size. I actually recommend, if you leave it and you don't build higher like I did, then you should probably put auto turrets on the roof so that unauthorized, well, people in helicopters who you don't want on your roof won't be on your roof, and they won't be able to land. So I recommend kind of scattering auto turrets throughout the roof area, as it'll kind of make it a little bit harder to get on top of your base, because getting on top of your base in something like this could be a bit scarier than normal, as there's a lot more places to hide. There's a lot more hiding spots for someone who ladders up, and there's a lot more angles. Well, there's a lot more places they could like door camp, because there's so many doors, and you just kind of never know where they're hiding on your base. So if someone gets dropped off in a heli or something like that, you just kind of want the auto turrets to deal with them, so you don't have to. So try to set up like well, some sort of shotgun traps by the doors and auto turrets in open areas and shit like that. I just kind of added some supports and some garage doors here. They just kind of look good for the spot, and they're also protective when actually being used. You can kind of hide behind them if you're getting sprayed by the heli or something like that. Sprayed by helicopter, not minicopter. So I just kind of went around and put those in every single one here. I think I'm going to chip out right about here, as everything I do from this point on is pretty self-explanatory. It's mostly just building windows and cover. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Loops. Like and subscribe if you've made it to this point. You probably already are, as only mostly dedicated viewers would watch an hour-long video of me just building. Thank you so much for watching, if anyone actually makes it to this point, and anyone actually hears me rambling on. I will see you guys after I get home from vacation. I'll probably build another base like the day I get home, try to get it uploaded on the second day. Peace.